have some viewer mail.
We have viewer mail. I like viewer mail.
Yes, we do.
If you have questions, send them to Doug@riskingrewardtv.org. I would be happy to answer your questions. And I have to point out that apparently my email went down. So if you tried to send a question to Doug@riskingrewardtv.org and it got bounced, send it again, because I don't know how that happened, but it happened, and I noticed that, and so email's not working. But we do have a question, so go ahead.
Okay, this is from Brian in Capitola, California, and he writes, I hear something about bank stress tests. What are they, and should I be stressed?
Well, Brian, no, you shouldn't be stressed. Some of the banks might be stressed. So a stress test in the bank is they run economic scenarios, and this is our third round. They've done a couple since we had our little calamity. And this one's basically about Europe and to see if they can withstand a European collapse. And this should tell you a little bit about how serious the European problem would be in our own economy. This is what the Federal Reserve thinks might hit our shores. So what did the FT say?
So Financial Times reported that the Federal Reserve will force the biggest U.S. banks to stress test their balance sheets against a severe Eurozone recession and a U.S. unemployment rate of 13% as part of the wide-ranging exercise launched on Tuesday. So if they have some banking collapses,
they're looking
what happens to our banks?
Well, they're testing them for a 13% unemployment rate and the economy shrinking 6.9%. So if you think about where we are now and we think, oh, Europe's not a problem, the economy shrinking almost 7%, a 13% unemployment rate is what they're thinking is the worst case scenario.
That's pretty stressful.
That's very stressful, and it shows you how important this particular point in time is. They wouldn't do this otherwise. So it's very important that they get this stress test done quickly, because this is happening right now. And so we need to pay attention to this.
Will they pass?
Well, that's a good question. So I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. If they don't pass, so the things they would do is things like you can't pay more dividends. You have to increase capital. You need to bring in more money. They would set up again the lending facilities and so on to make sure that they could go through a recession and a very difficult economic period. So there would be things they do if they don't pass. They're certainly not going to shut down any banks because they don't pass a stress test, but they'll have to do stuff. And of course, that is one of the problems with stress tests, is if they tell everybody that this bank has stress and this one doesn't, well, that really hurts their business.
People could start leaving that bank.
Yeah, it really hurts their business.
Now, what can Brian and others do?
Well, that's a good question, because stress tests can not only be on banks, but you could do it yourself. All a stress test is running your numbers, your balance sheet, your assets and liabilities, your income and your outflow against different scenarios. The European scenario is the 13% unemployment and the reduction of 6.9% in GDP for the banks. But think about your stress. Where would you see financial stress in your life? So loss of job, right? Health.
Or a pay cut.
Pay cut. Just reduction in hours, benefits maybe, health. One of us gets sick, one of you gets sick. Obviously, a death would be horrible and something that you should do. So you can run stress tests on your own numbers. Just take your cash flow statement as you project it forward in your financial plan and say, okay, what happens if? And that's your little stress test.
And what would I do to correct it?
And what should I plan for if this is going to happen? How likely is it to happen? And then how do I have an emergency backup plan in case it happens? So the banks, they need to save more money, have more money put away. So what do you think you need to do?
Not give out their bonuses.
That's right. Don't spend too much this Christmas. Not everybody needs an iPad. So that new Kindle thing, that's cheaper. So I know. Go with the iPad. But you can stress test yourself, and so that's a good idea. I mean, that's what the professionals are doing. No reason you can't take that and put it in your own life.
And what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is, what kind of economic shock could you withstand? Loss of job, health, investment losses. Run your financial plan with different scenarios and see where you are vulnerable, and then take action to shore up your weaknesses.